Title: My cousin live-streamed a family dinner where my mom called me a desperate failure, even though I'd been paying her medical bills for 5 years. She laughed while describing how pathetic my life was, so I blocked her number and the live stream. I wasn't watching it live. I was sitting in my one-bedroom apartment in St. Paul, folding laundry after a 12-hour shift at the clinic, when a friend from high school texted me. "Are you seeing this? Your family's live stream is trending, and not in a good way." My stomach tightened. I hadn't heard anything about a family dinner. No text invite, no group message. But that wasn't new. Ever since I moved out 10 years ago, they'd been slowly pretending I didn't exist. Except, of course, when the bills came due. Still, I opened the link. Facebook Live. It was my cousin Mandy's page. Public. Already over 800 views. The camera was shaky, propped against a stack of soda cans on the buffet table. My family was mid-dinner. My aunt's floral tablecloth, that old oak hutch in the background. Everyone chatting, laughing, passing dishes. And then I heard her. My mom. "She didn't come because she doesn't want to be around successful people," she said, laughing. Her voice slurred just slightly. "You know what I told her last time she asked if I needed anything. I said, you should worry more about your own pathetic life." More laughter. "She always wanted to be a doctor," she continued, pointing with her fork. "Now she's a nurse in some walk-in clinic, living off student loan scraps. No husband, no kids, no future." The camera caught my cousin smirking. "Didn't she help you with your chemo last year?" My mother waved it off. "Pfft. Yeah, with my money. She just held the phone and thought she was Mother Teresa. I only let her pay because she begged for relevance." There it was. I paused the video. My heart didn't race. I didn't cry. I sat very still, because in that moment, something broke. Not like glass shattering. Not loud. It was quieter, like the sound of a lock clicking into place. For 5 years, I had been covering her out-of-pocket medical bills, every monthly infusion that insurance wouldn't touch, every round of medication. I never asked her to pay me back. I just did it. Because she was my mother. Because I thought love meant loyalty. Because I thought she couldn't see me. But surely she must feel me holding the weight. But now I knew. She didn't feel anything. I didn't finish the video. I didn't text anyone. Instead, I stood up, folded the last pair of socks, and walked to my desk, opened my budgeting app, canceled the recurring payment for her medication account. Then I opened my phone, found her number, blocked it, then blocked my aunt, my uncle, my cousin, all of them. The next day, she texted me at 7:58 a.m. "Mom, morning, sweetie. Need you to refill my prescription today. Feeling dizzy." I let the notification sit there. Then I deleted it. No reply. No explanation. No drama. Because I wasn't planning to yell. I was planning to leave her exactly where she put me. Unseen, unheard, and no longer useful. She wanted to pretend I didn't matter. Fine. I'd show her how invisible I could really be. The silence. 2 days passed, then 3, then 5, and still, nothing from me. No prescription refill, no check, no response, no validation. At first, she didn't think it mattered. I know her too well. She probably assumed I was sulking, that I'd come back, like I always did. Tail between my legs, apologizing for making her uncomfortable with my presence. But I wasn't coming back, not this time. On day 6, she called. The voicemail was short. "Hey, I think my texts aren't going through. I need you to call the pharmacy. I only have a few pills left." I didn't respond. She didn't know I had set the account to require her approval before any refill could be made. She'd need to use her own card now. And of course, she wouldn't. Because she didn't think she should have to. By day 8, the texts changed tone. "Claire, I'm getting really sick. You can't just ignore me. What's going on with you? What did I do that was so wrong? I read each one once, then deleted them. On day 10, she sent me a photo of herself at the hospital, an IV in her arm. Her caption said, "Your silence is literally killing me." No, Mom. Your words did that all by themselves. That same night, I received a message from Mandy, the cousin who'd live-streamed it all. "Hey, I didn't know she'd say that stuff. I wasn't trying to be cruel." I didn't respond. "You're not really gonna cut her off forever, are you?" Still nothing. She's still your mother. And I'm still her daughter. And that didn't stop her, did it? The truth was, they didn't miss me. They missed what I did for them. The comfort, the convenience, the financial support I offered without asking for recognition. They never said thank you. They never defended me. They never even invited me to that dinner. But now that their safety net was gone, suddenly, I mattered. Funny how that works. I went on with my life. I picked up an extra shift, reorganized my bookshelves, donated some old clothes. Simple, grounding things. Every time I walked past my phone and saw a notification from someone in my family, I smiled. Not because I was angry, but because it felt good not to need them. Not needing someone is a quiet kind of power. On day 12, I received a handwritten card in the mail. From my mom. "Claire, I'm sorry. I said things I shouldn't have. I was trying to be funny, and I hurt you. I miss you. I need you. Please come see me. Let's talk. Love. Mom." There was no return address, just shaky handwriting and a lipstick-smudged stamp. I held the card in my hands for a long moment, then I dropped it in the trash, unopened. Because apologies that only come when the support ends, they aren't apologies. They're negotiations. And I wasn't open for negotiation anymore. The power to rewrite. 3 weeks. That's how long it had been since I blocked her number. Since the livestream. Since I stopped being the daughter who showed up, paid up and stayed quiet. At work, I was sharper, clearer. My mind didn't wander during rounds or freeze when someone mentioned family. I was just there, present. I didn't realize how much weight I'd been carrying until I finally set it down. I sat at my desk one night and logged into the pharmacy portal, the one I used to manage her prescriptions. It still listed me as the primary contact, emergency backup, and payment holder. I removed my name from all 3. Then I clicked the export records button and downloaded 5 years' worth of statements. Line after line of co-pays, specialty meds, delivery charges, all paid by me. It wasn't about reimbursement. It was about proof. Because for years, she painted me as the desperate one, the one who clung to her for meaning. And now, I was going to make sure that no one could rewrite what really happened. The next morning, I scheduled an appointment with a lawyer. Not for a lawsuit. Not yet. For something more personal. A living will update. Because her name was still listed on mine. For medical contact, emergency situations, even my basic HR benefits at the clinic. She had no business being there. By the end of the day, I had replaced her with a friend I trusted from nursing school. Someone who knew me. Who'd never laugh behind my back over mashed potatoes and wine. A week later, I sent out a message to my extended relatives. The ones who were rarely involved, but always somehow aware. "Hi. Just letting you know I've made some changes to my emergency contacts and legal affairs. For the last 5 years, I've supported Mom's medical needs without asking for thanks. That ends now. I wish her health, but not my silence. Claire. No dramatic accusations, no guilt-tripping, just truth. Polite, final, clear." Mandy responded 2 hours later. "I didn't know it hurt you that bad." I didn't reply. Because they all knew. They just didn't care until the lifeline was gone. The last piece came a few days later. I wrote it without anger, without venom, just clarity. A letter to my mother. "You told a table full of people that I was a desperate failure, that I had no future, that my help meant nothing. So now, I am giving you exactly what you asked for. Distance. I won't fund your care anymore. I won't be your backup plan. And I won't chase apologies made out of necessity, not sincerity. I'm not disappearing because I'm weak. I'm stepping away because I've grown strong enough to stop pretending this is love. I didn't sign it love, Claire. I didn't sign it at all. I just sealed the envelope, sent it certified, and never looked back. She had called me pathetic, but now she was the one waiting by the mailbox while I finally moved on. When the phone stops ringing, the thing about depending on someone silently for years is you only realize how much they did when they stop showing up. And by then, it's far too late. I hadn't spoken to my mother in nearly 5 weeks. The calls had stopped. The texts had gone quiet. Even Mandy's guilt-ridden Instagram stories, all vague quotes about healing and accountability, had faded. But silence isn't always peace. Sometimes it's pressure. I heard through a nurse friend at the hospital that Mom had missed 2 follow-up appointments, that she'd declined to start her new medication regimen, that the hospital social worker had tried calling her emergency contact and had been surprised when the number rang through to a stranger. Not me anymore. Around that same time, I started receiving envelopes again. Not from her. From collections companies. Apparently, once my payment info disappeared, so did her access to the specialty meds. She'd never updated her own insurance. She had no savings, no backup. Just old habits and burned bridges. I shredded each bill. She used to call me pathetic for budgeting every cent. She used to laugh about how I lived like a monk while covering her chemotherapy balance. Now, she was rationing blood pressure pills because she couldn't afford the refill. One day, I walked past the community bulletin board at the hospital and froze. A yellow flyer was tacked beside a church potluck sign. Emergency medical assistance requested. Local resident in need. Please donate to help Patricia Green afford ongoing treatment. Any amount helps. Venmo and GoFundMe listed below. Patricia Green. My mother. There it was. My absence. Made public. I took a photo of the flyer. Not to share. Not to mock. To remember. This was the woman who told a room full of people that I was a waste. Who smirked at my silence while I signed away paychecks to keep her alive. Now the world was watching her beg for help from strangers. Later that evening, Mandy sent another message. She's not well. Please, can't you just talk to her? I responded. 1 line. She already said everything she needed to, and now, so have I. No reply came after that. A week later, I visited a nearby coffee shop. It was quiet, snow falling softly outside. I ordered a drink and sat near the window, flipping through a journal I hadn't touched in years. That's when I saw her, my mother, across the street. Older, slower, wrapped in a too thin coat. She didn't see me. She was standing at the pharmacy window, arguing about a discount program, waving expired coupons. Her posture, once sharp and commanding, looked hunched, defeated. She looked like someone who had run out of things to offer the world, and finally realized what she had thrown away. I didn't go out. I didn't wave. I didn't even flinch, because she had made me invisible, and now she was learning what that really meant. The rewrite. For years, I was the quiet one, the helper, the one who wired money but skipped holidays, the one they forgot in photos, but remembered when the bills arrived. And for years, I let them write my story. Desperate, overreaching, the one who never quite got it together. But silence doesn't mean surrender, and absence isn't weakness. Sometimes, it's the loudest boundary you can draw. That month, I filed paperwork to officially change my emergency contacts, medical directives, and even the point of contact for my life insurance policy. I removed her name from every legal document that tied her to me. No more next of kin. No more fallback. No more implied love where only expectation lived. In her place, I listed my mentor from the hospital, someone who had seen me cry between shifts, who had brought me soup when I worked through flu season, someone who had never once asked me for anything, but always showed up. I also revised my will. A portion of my estate, modest but earned, would go to a scholarship fund for first-gen nursing students. The rest, to a domestic abuse recovery center. My story wasn't the same as theirs, but pain echoes, and silence understands silence. Then, one afternoon, I did something I hadn't done in years. I sat down and wrote a letter, but not to my mother, to myself. Dear Claire, you were never a failure. You were never desperate. You were never the one who broke this family. You were the glue, the shield, the safety net. And now, you are free. They chose mockery. You chose mercy. They chose cruelty. You chose quiet strength. You did not disappear. You simply stopped offering yourself to people who never valued the gift. And that was the beginning of peace. I folded it, tucked it inside the first page of my journal, and closed the cover. I didn't need to confront her. I didn't need to go on Facebook or post screenshots. I didn't need revenge. I had something better. A life that no longer belonged to people who didn't respect it. A few weeks later, a family member reached out. A cousin I hadn't spoken to in years. I saw what she said. I'm sorry. You didn't deserve that. I thanked her, briefly. Are you ever going to forgive her? I paused, then typed, forgiveness is just a form of closure, but closure doesn't always require a reunion. Sometimes, it's just knowing you're never going back. A life without apologies. It was early spring the next time I stood in front of a mirror and didn't flinch at my own reflection. There were no dramatic changes. Same apartment, same worn scrubs, same under-eye circles from late-night hospital shifts. But something inside had shifted. I wasn't surviving anymore. I was choosing. And that made all the difference. I no longer scanned every message hoping for an apology. I no longer walked through the world, wondering if I was being discussed, pitied, diminished by someone I used to call family. I had stopped caring about their words the moment I realized they never saw me as a person, only as a service. And people like that, they don't get access to your healing. One quiet afternoon, I passed by the old community center where my mom once volunteered for appearance's sake. A notice board on the window caught my eye. Storyteller's Circle. A safe space to rewrite your narrative. I went in, not to share, not yet, just to sit. There were women, men, older folks, students. They talked about divorces, broken families, betrayals, grief, and guilt. No one cried loudly. No one raged. They just told the truth. And it made me realize something. I had never needed my mother to call me a success. I had never needed her to brag about me to her friends, or show up to my pinning ceremony, or frame my nursing license. All I ever wanted was for her to see me and still choose love. She didn't. And that was painful, but I no longer needed her to rewrite that, because I already had. The live stream that started it all. Gone. Deleted. Mandy's account was closed weeks after the backlash. No apology ever came from her. Or my mom. Or anyone. But that silence no longer stung. It was just quiet. The kind of quiet that finally lets you sleep. One night, I made myself dinner. Nothing fancy, just garlic pasta and roasted vegetables. I poured a glass of wine and lit a candle. And for the first time in years, I sat at the table alone. Without sadness. Without waiting for a call. Without guilt for not reaching out. I was alone. And I was free. She called me a desperate failure. But now she was the one desperately seeking help from strangers online. And I had built a life with boundaries. A life with dignity. A life without apologies. She had mocked me for needing purpose. But now I saw that being kind in a cruel place is not weakness. It's the strongest, most dangerous thing you can do. And walking away, that was my final gift to myself. You are not alone, and you are so much stronger than you think. Tap that subscribe button to join Veiled Revenge, where we share tales that heal, inspire, and remind you that even the deepest heartbreak can lead to the most beautiful new beginning. Share this with someone who needs a reminder that revenge isn't always about getting even. Sometimes, it's just about getting better.